I mean, when you talk about the post from Deshaun Jackson, the anti-Semitic post, which was a quote from Adolf Hitler, I think that Steven Jackson's reaction wasn't in support of the post. It was more of a comparison to a situation that Deshaun Jackson faced with the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, and
Mm-hmm.
another player, Michael Cooper, or Cooper, who played for the Eagles, and
Right.
he actually said a
He just got
racial
the
slur.
slap on the wrist.
He said a racial slur at a concert, Kenny Chesney concert back in 2013, and the different treatment in which Cooper was treated opposed to Deshaun Jackson, I think that that's where Steven Jackson's expression was coming from. But I think the way in which he handled his defense mechanism or his expression on who he was
Mm-hmm.
siding with came off a little differently. And again, like you say, on a platform like CNN, when you say you use the wrong choice of words or you could have worded things differently, they want to hear what you could have said differently. They want to hear what you truly meant and where you're coming from. And I think that he didn't do a great job of expressing that. And at times he was a little bit defensive. But I think for Stephen A, being a well-spoken, a well-articulate, a very educated man, I think that that should side with what you say. That should be where you step in and let him know how he could have done things personally, and let him say, "Hey, bro, you could have done things. You could have said it this way. You could have expressed it in this manner." But to go on First Take and just and in a way kind of embarrass him and just let him know that he embarrassed not only himself but in a way kind of embarrassed us when you talk about the culture. I think that that was a little bit much. I think it was, but again, no one's perfect. And Steven Jackson, he's been one of the top voices we've heard when you talk about standing up, when you talk about George Floyd, the loss of him through police brutality. We talk about standing up for Black Lives Matter and equality for our culture and our people. He's been a very advocate and one of the top voices that I've heard. So I think that we don't think that he's supporting anti-Semitics. I don't think that he's in cahoots with any of that. I don't think that he has any dislike for Jews. As you know, he has over 10 Jewish people working on his podcast, All the Smoke. So I don't think that that's any of the issues, but I think in which the way he expressed it and the way that he came off to a lot of people was just not informed. And that's the thing. When you're not informed, I think that we should help each other get informed, especially when you talk about someone who you would sit up there and say, my brother, to. I've heard Stephen Jackson and Stephen A. Smith say that to each other numerous of times. So if that's your brother, how you say he is, then do what you can to have his back and support him and to educate him.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. And I will say that Steven Jackson did admit that he wasn't fully informed about what he was speaking about. He was honest about that, right? Which goes back to knowing what type of platform you on. And when I saw him on CNN, I'm gonna be honest, my initial reaction was I did cringe a little bit because this is a very political platform. Like CNN is I mean, CNN has its highs and its lows, but that's not the platform you just go on and just say whatever you want, right? So Stephen A. Smith, I don't know, that just kind of rubbed me in the wrong way because just like we're saying, like we're supposed to be brothers, and the amount of things that are happening right now, to see your brother do something that's bad for his career, and you guys are saying that this was an L that he took. I hope, and I mean, me and you personally don't know, but I hope that Stephen A. Smith extended his arm and reached out to him, called him something, because if that's your brother, yes, he's a grown man, but you have to help guide him in another direction, especially if you have the type of platform that you have. If you're going to sit on air and say those type of things, and not to say that it was super aggressive or degrading or anything like that, but if you're going to reach out and say those things, I believe you have to reach out and help as well.